Today we're going to be doing a comparison, a side-by-side comparison of the Ryonet Green Galaxy Comet White, which is a water-based screen printing ink, and the Jacquard Super Opaque White. We're going to be comparing them for opacity. We're going to be comparing them with a couple of wash tests. We're just going to see which one works better. We're even going to see which one cleans out better when we go out to the wash station and clean the screens. So it's just a test. I wanted to know myself which one of these would work better for my applications and for the applications here in my shop. And I was thinking that this might be something that other people would be interested in. So I thought I would make this video. All right, we're going to be doing two screens. They both have basically the same design on them. And we're going to be putting one in the Jacquard Super Opaque White and the other in the Comet White. We're going to begin with the Jacquard ink. I'm going to go ahead and spray, put my shirt down. I'm using an old shirt that I had printed before that I don't wear. It was a mistake shirt, so I'm going to use it just for this particular test. It's been washed at least once already, but I don't think that's going to hurt it at all for this particular test. Just got to make sure it sticks to the platen. This is going to be, on both of these, I'm going to do a print flash print. I normally do that with white anyway. And I've used Comet White for a while with pretty good success. So I know it works really well. But I've never done a side-by-side comparison on the same fabric, printing it the same day, the same way. We're going to do the same temperature cure. We're going to cure it for 2.5 minutes under our flash dryer, which is not a forced air flash. And I know some people might say, well, it needs to be a forced air flash. I've had some success with this. There are some chemicals that you can put into both of these. Both Jacquard and Green Galaxy make a chemical that helps with its curing factors on the water-based ink. Warp Drive is the Comet White. I'm not sure what it's called for Jacquard, but I know that they do have that. But I'm not using that. I just want, because if you put that additive in, that ink is then no longer usable in the future. You can't card it back out and put it back into the container. So I try to figure out ways to where, especially since I do small runs, I don't waste a lot of ink. So this is, like I said, just a trial. I'm going to do both of these at 2.5 minutes on the flash dryer once they're done. So we'll go ahead and drop the screen down, put the ink, I'm going to put a nice amount of ink. And again, I've never used the Jacquard Super Opaque White. It's the only additive that I do put, and I have used Jacquard before. The only additive that I put in is it's an additive that increases the open time, which means the amount of time that you can leave the ink in the mesh and it not dry out. I did put that in there because it helps it clean up later. So we're going to do this as I'm going to go ahead and flood the screen, get it nice and flooded. And I'm going to do a push print just like I would. I'm doing it just the same as I would with the Comet White. Come here, press it in, do a second push. That cleaned it out nicely. I'm going to reflood and set this up here. Looks pretty good. Looks about what I would expect with the Comet White. And I'm going to bring the flash dryer over and bring this underneath here where I can flash that for about 15 seconds. All right, now we did the first pass. We've flashed it. Now we're going to do second pass. Again, this is with the Jacquard Super Opaque White. Just going to flash the print over one more time and see. It looks decent. It's not great. Okay, now we're going to switch to the Green Galaxy Ryonet Comet White. Same screen, same design, and on the same exact garment, just on the opposite side of the garment. We're going to put down, same as before, just a nice bunch of ink. There's no additives in this ink at all. This screen was printed with red, so some of the red transfers through it. That might be a problem, but I don't think it will be. We're just going to run this same as before. Take our squeegee, which we've cleaned, and we're going to pull it. Make sure we flood the screen nicely. Now we're going to put this here, and we're going to push, print, and we always go twice just to clean it out. And looks pretty good. Reflood. Now, could do a second pass, but I didn't do that with the Jacquard, so I'm not going to do that with this. I'm going to flash it, and I'm just going to put another layer right on top of this. So let's see. And now we're going to do our second pass. Press in, clean the screen all the way out, and you know what? It looks the same. I don't know if that's the screens or if it's this particular type of shirt, but it looks the same as far as it's a little bit rougher than what I'm used to. But as far as opacity goes, looks similar. So I'm going to cure it. Same curing time. We're going to hold it under a IR flash for 2.5 minutes. Give me just a moment. Now I'll get this off of here. Put it under the IR flash. Right directly under it. And hold there for 2.5 minutes. Okay, this is the Jacquard Super Opaque White. You can see that it is, in fact, with the print, flash print, quite opaque on the dark garment. It's a charcoal gray. You can go in and see a little closer that there's some spots that seem a little distressed on the ink, and I'm not sure if that's from a little bit of ink dried in the screen or not, but it does, like this M, you can really see on this M a little bit of where it doesn't really seem to have made a nice print. Okay, this is the Green Galaxy Comet White. You can see that there's some places, like on the M right here, just as in the other, on the Jacquard, where it seems like it's a little bit distressed, and on the T here, there's some distressing, but I think that that was from ink that had dried in the screen. I don't think that that's from the ink. And also this type of fabric, this charcoal gray, tends to absorb the ink a little bit more. I may have to repeat this test on a different fabric with some different screens later, but just for now, it works fine. It's very opaque, as would it be expected with the Comet White. Stands out really well against the charcoal background. One of the reasons why I use water-based ink is because it's so easy to clean it. I don't have to use chemicals. I have an outdoor washout station, as you can see here. It's right up against my house. And I'm just going to rinse out. This is the Comet White. I know this cleans out well because I've used it several times already, but I'm just going to show you. Come close. You can actually see that I've carted out most of the ink already. And this is just a plain water hose, a little spray. I'm going to do it very lightly on it. And you see the white, the water-based ink just comes right off. The red dye from before, you can see, but that's from an old print. It's kind of on the screen. I can't seem to get it off. But you can see this water just comes. Once it's wet, it comes right off. Comet White really does a good job. So as far as cleanup and everything, you can't beat it. But we're going to try with the Jacquard and see how it works. Switch. Ready? All right, this had the Jacquard on it. I intentionally left a little more ink on this because I'm trying to test it. I'd already tested the Comet White. I wanted to see just how hard it would be to wash this out. Now I did put the screen life on it, which is supposed to extend the wet time and make it easier to clean up, and usually it does. I've done it with other Jacquard inks, but I wanted to try it with the opaque white and see. So I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to start. Seems to have about the same as the Comet White. There was a lot more ink on this one than was on the screen for the Comet White, so I'm actually cool with this. Works fine. But I'm going to go ahead and finish cleaning up with you. Let's see that. Just a quick follow-up on the Jacquard Super Opaque White. I was able to go back on a different fabric later on and print, and this is on black, and I think it turned out really nice. It's nice and opaque, and this is a one hit. Actually, it's 2 passes, but without a flash between, so I was really impressed. It stands out really nice. The yellow I messed up on a little bit, but the white looks great. On this one, the white looks good as well. I think this was a flash print, if I remember correctly, but this one was simply 2 passes without a flash between, and I was really happy with how that turned out. So the Super Opaque White does really well. I'm still doing wash tests on the first round to see how it goes, and I'll let you know how those go as well. All right, this is after a couple of washes. This is the Jacquard Super Opaque White. You zoom in pretty close, you can see hasn't lost any opacity. Doesn't seem to have lost any of the ink quality. Remember, it had the problem before from the dried out ink in the screen. So it didn't look perfect in the beginning, but it still looks about the same, which means it held up under the washes, so the wash test came out good. This is the Green Galaxy Comet White. It also has maintained its opacity through the washes, but there is something that I've noticed on the Comet White that I've noticed on this well, and I'm going to have to zoom in pretty good for you to see this. But if you look up at the top of some of the letters, you'll see it beginning to crack right around the top of the T, right on the top of the A, a little bit of that E, the O here, getting a pretty good crack going, and that's a problem. That's a problem I've had in some of the Comet White. It may be my curing parameters because I am using just an IR flash, but that didn't happen with the Jacquard Super Opaque White, so that's something to mention for this video. And just one final follow-up. This is the Jacquard Super Opaque White on a different garment, so there is none of the problems that we're having with the other as far as the ink being dry on the screen or that fabric being really porous. This is a standard t-shirt. You can see that even though this has been through a wash test, it's maintained its opacity, and this was a 2 passes without a flash between. It's got good elasticity, good stretchability on the fabric. It stretches really well. There's no signs of any cracking at all. I'm having to do this one-handed, so forgive me. But it really, the Super Opaque White of the Jacquard has really impressed me. I like the Comet White, it works really well, but I like the Jacquard ink as well. So it just seems as if this is an option for someone who's looking for another opportunity to do water-based white ink and have it really stand out on dark garments. So I hope this review was helpful, and hope it's beneficial to those of you who are looking for white ink.